Nimble Superman back again. Yeah. So I just finished that video just talking about conversions, and I didn't even really say anything really constructive about it. It was just talking about my disappointment and just frustration with like how terrible that event was. Just unbelievably bad. And I thought, well, man, I'm just kind of depressed right now. Like, oh my god, this is so bad. But you know what? You got to talk about things sometimes, just to like find ways to get past it. But anyways, I felt like let's talk about something that I love, something that I like legitimately love so much, and I don't have much gripes about. And man, I loved that Justice League cartoon they had. It's oh my god, like it's unreal. Like how much I really loved that series. It's just oh man, that's I think when like I really became a fan of just DC in general because I think before that um, I was just more of a fan of Superman and Batman, and that was it. I didn't really have much of a love for like characters like Wonder Woman, uh, or you know, or really the other ones to any extent. I mean, I always loved Martian Manhunter, always. But when they started doing Justice League Unlimited, and I really started getting a look at the whole DC universe, really, that's when things started to change for me in terms of just interest, in the DC side of things. Um, the first season, because like, I guess I'm assuming anybody watching this is just, you know all this stuff. You just want to hear somebody talk about it, like just like I would. So, and anybody who doesn't know, just kind of a quick recap. There was like two series of it. They had the first Justice League series, which was an extension of like the Batman from Batman the Animated Series and Superman and the Superman from Superman the Animated Series, and just an extension of that really. But I don't think they really planned it at first because they wanted the series to stand on its own and that kind of thing. But basically, there was like two series. Both had two seasons each, and the first series kind of just focused really on the main seven that they had there. They had Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Wally West, Flash. They had Hawkgirl, um, John Stewart, and Martian Manhunter. Um, I really hope I didn't say anybody twice, but I'm pretty sure that's all of them. Yeah. Um, and it was just such a great series. The first season, although I gotta be honest, the first season, not a lot of great episodes. Sorry, it's just like I say sorry if some people like really love that first season, but I got to be honest, I wasn't really a big fan of that first season, because one of the I guess the biggest things because I'm obviously a hardcore Superman fan. The Superman was a little bit depowered. I wouldn't say depowered, but he was much weaker um, than than you're used to seeing of Superman. And if you talked and if you heard like Bruce Timm and them talk about they were just kind of like, well, we didn't realize we were doing it. Like we just literally just thought, it's like if the villain's beating up Superman, then the audience can kind of sit there and say, "Ooh, this guy's really powerful. He's beating up Superman, right? Superman's our big guy. We got to get him out of the way to tell the story." And there really wasn't many good stories in the first season. And another thing to remember about the first series is that everything was like a two-parter or three-parter, and I think there was only one that was Comfort and Joy. That was just one episode. But for the most part, they were all just big stories. I think that's what I really loved about that series. It wasn't great if you were watching on television because, every story was, connected to another one. But if you're sitting there, with the DVDs, just watching those stories, man, it worked out pretty good because like you can really flesh out a story completely, you know. But getting back to the stories of the first season, I always like the origin. It's a little bit rushed, but like in terms of bringing all the characters together and forming the league. But there were some good spots of it, like introducing Martian Manhunter. They were fighting the White Martians. I like that stuff. That was cool. Um, the Injustice League with Lex Luthor getting the kryptonite cancer, teaming up with Ultra Humanite and other people. That I thought always thought that was cool. I didn't like it when they went back in time and fought Vandal Savage. I didn't like that. Like, yeah. Oh, the Aquaman one. Ooh, yeah, I forgot about that. That was like one of the best ones. It's hilarious because when I grew up, like I'd seen that, and like I wasn't somebody that went along on the internet, looking up all the hate you know, and I never really had a lot of friends that were like truly into comics and stuff. But like I guess I grew up never understanding like the joke of like how Aquaman was like, you know, a wuss and like, he was useless and this kind of stuff. I never understood it growing up because that was the Aquaman I was introduced with. I never had Super Friends Aquaman. I had the barbarian badass Aquaman. Like if you look at those two episodes that he's in, oh man, I highly recommend it. I can't remember what it's called. I'm sure you can Google it. But man, like you think about all the things that happen in that, and it's like Aquaman just ends up being like a really just an incredibly interesting character. Incredibly, like, you know, his brother Orm, like takes over Atlantis. He tries to like murder his brother, tries to murder him and his child, and like that scene, like when he's trying to break free and he's trying to like save himself and his baby because like they're like going down like I guess into lava, and he has no choice. He has to like chop off his arm to get out of the restraint to go save his son. And it's just an unbelievably powerful scene for a cartoon. Like unbelievable. And then at the end of the story, he ends up just not saving his brother. Like just like you end up like seeing this Aquaman that's just unbelievably badass, like legitimately badass. Not like I don't even know, but like you just see a character that's like, man, like he's forever just going to be like that story is going to be forever cemented in my mind is like that's Aquaman right there, and nothing will ever break that. But getting back to it, yeah, the first season, not a lot of great stories. um and then the second season of that first series was, oh my god, unbelievable, unfreaking believable. It was amazing. Like every story was great. Like I can't even think of many bad ones. Maybe Flash and the Snake People. But was that the first season? No, that I think that was the second season. But yet so much good stuff. Like it starts off with Twilight, and you get the death of like Brainiac and Darkseid. Like this, oh my god, they're so freaking cool. Because like another thing, I always talk about my love for DC animation, but I hardly ever mention Darkseid and like Michael Ironside. Michael Ironside is like, to me, he is the voice of Darkseid. Anybody else that does the voice of him, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like it's just he like literally broke the code. Like that's Darkseid, man. Like, and it was so interesting because that was like really when they started to bridge the gap with like Superman the animated series. Because anybody who watched that, knows that Darkseid was a big enemy in that, and he was a big part of that finale too, of the Superman series. So yeah, Twilight, unbelievable. They did a Mazo. They brought in Despero with like, and Keith David did the voice of Despero. Again, if they ever like chose to do Despero, like I'd say bring back Keith David and do something with that because like, good lord, it was just like he just made that character so freaking epic, like, and that's the way I look at Despero. Like I don't like to see Despero as like this big brute, this I guess psychic big brute. That's to me like the JL version of Despero. That's it, man. Like it's him or bust for me. Like in all honesty, I hate seeing him as a big brute because it's like there's nothing to that character then. But yeah, there's that because that was like a Green Lantern story. Then they bring in the Secret Society with I guess Grodd and the other people. That story was great. Um, and then you get the Star-Crossed crossover, and Hawkgirl turns out to be a traitor, and like, oh my god, I can't even express how great that second season was, and it was just such a huge improvement. You know, Superman wasn't a wuss anymore. They they got rid of like the big indents like on his face there from like the first season. I always hated that look. They did that again in like Superman. I guess Superman Doomsday. I guess that's what it's called. The animated movie they did where they didn't really adapt the death of Superman, but they made an original story that was inspired by the death of Superman. I have to say that because obviously that movie is not an adaptation of the death of Superman, not even close. But anyways, yeah, just unbelievable. You know, and that ending where they don't know if they're gonna bring back Hawkgirl and that kind of thing. Like it was really cool. And then Wild Cards, I totally forgot about that. Like that was another two-parter in that second season with Joker. Just a lot of great moments. Just unbelievable. Yeah. And then they went and did JLU or Justice League Unlimited. Like that was another really great show. I think at first and for a while there I didn't really respond to it as much as I did that second season of Justice League because I was just so in love with, the original 7 and I didn't like the idea of just all these other characters honing in, on the League time. But then you start to realize like the big arc they're doing in that first season of JLU and how everything starts to pay off and the big ending there with I guess spoilers. I don't even say spoilers because if you're here you're watching this video because you already know all this stuff. You just want to hear somebody talk about it, but and communicate their excitement. But so yeah, spoilers like Brainiac shows up at the end and Lex, all this stuff that they were doing like throughout that season just start to pay off. You got Galatea, the clone of Supergirl, just like literally just so much good stuff. It's unfucking believable. You know? Unbelievable how much good stuff came out of that. And then, I guess they do that epilogue ending with Batman Beyond. I gotta tell you, coming from somebody who's hardcore Batman Beyond fan, I was never a fan of that angle that they went with Batman Beyond. Like my opinion on why they did it is just they felt like Batman Beyond ended in a certain way that was kind of a little rushed. Batman Beyond never really got a proper ending. Fair enough. Um, but like the way they chose to go about it, it felt like it was really convenient storytelling. I don't know if that's even a term, but that's what it felt like. It just felt really convenient and unnecessary. It just kind of, I just felt like it kind of undermines like Terry's kind of story and all that kind of stuff. Where it's like it really plays on like, oh, he's almost a clonish kind of thing of Bruce Wayne. So of course he's going to be Batman and that kind of thing. It's just I don't know. Takes I think a lot of the magic out of Batman Beyond, and I would not mind at all if they retconned that. I wouldn't mind that at all because he shows up and he's like gonna propose to Dana, and I don't know if Batman Beyond fans would be too happy with me saying this, but like I don't think he should end up with her. I really don't. Like I don't know exactly who he should end up with, but it's not Dana. To me, it's like they don't really have much in common. I think she's a nice girl and everything like that. I got nothing really much against Dana. It's just I don't feel that chemistry, that they had together. It just feels like they spend a lot of stories where she's just kind of pushed aside. And then and then it's cool in the book with Batman Beyond that one of the things Dana does right off from the very start, like I guess they started out with the monthly, was that Dana broke up with Terry. She was just tired of his shit, and I think it really just uh, brought some respect to that character. But I'm just totally getting off track here. But yeah, JLU that first season was just amazing to me. Just man, that entire arc. I don't know if there was ever been like a superhero show before that who ever like that ever told like such a great original arc that they did with that first season of JLU. I don't think anything comes close. Like, because it was original, man. Like, it wasn't really based on anything. Like, and all this stuff that they had before that they did, it just all started paying off. And again, I'm just gushing about it. All I'm just saying is this was great, but it really was. It really was that great. And then they did the second season of JLU, which wasn't terrible. There's a lot of good moments out of it. I loved that episode with Flash and the Flash museum. And you can see his villains kind of come together to want to take him out. That's when like I really, really became like a solid Wally West fan. That's when I gained a lot of respect for that character. Because I love characters that I gotta hold on. Sorry about that. Uh, yeah, what was I even talking about? Yeah, the second season of JLU and that Flash episode, man. Like, because that's, I think, one type of characters that I really enjoy. I like heroes that are like the ultimate good guys. They really just are legitimately good people. You know, um, I've just always loved that archetype of heroes. I've never been a fan of like anti-heroes or heroes that are just super negative, about things. I just love heroes that are just they really are just good guys. You'd love to hang out with them. You'd love to be their friend kind of thing. Like, and Wally is one of those people, right? Like he's one of the most kind-hearted heroes in that show that you know ever was in the DCAU. Um, but yeah, that was a great episode. Um, I'm struggling to find other episodes I really enjoyed. And then they have this episode where they switch Flash and Lex's brain. That was cool. But the finale, I think, is what really redeems that season, big time. Because you get one episode before that. Because like one of the, I guess another recap. I guess in that season, Lex is just trying to get Brainiac back. Because like he was so powerful at the end of the first season. Of JLU, and he wants to get Brainiac back, and he's going to do anything, and instead of bringing back Brainiac, he brings back Darkseid, and then Darkseid is back, and Darkseid has like, oh my god, so many great lines. It's like, you gotta like almost just look it up on YouTube, but there's just so many great quotes from Darkseid during that ending there. And then he fights Superman, and Superman's just like, it's time for you to find out how powerful I really am. Just so much good stuff at that ending there, right? Like the ending. Although I gotta admit, the ending was a little confusing, just a little bit. Where Lex finds the anti-life equation, and Darkseid has it, and then it's just kind of the end, Um, and I think they kind of brought that up a little bit in the Batman Beyond comics, but not a lot. Like, I think that was the last time we ever really saw Lex. You know, although there was a Superman Batman annual, uh, that I forgot to mention. I guess in my other Batman Beyond video, there was a Superman Batman annual, but to me that's not canon. It's really not, like, because again, I don't think they just knew that Batman Beyond would come back and all this kind of stuff. So to me, that issue they did there wasn't canon. Like, you see Lex as an old man, and he's on the way out. He's sick. I can't even remember the issue, but to me, that issue's not canon. You know. But yeah, like Justice League, that whole series. Oh my gosh, I might end up watching like all of that when like the movie comes out, like just to like prepare myself. Because I'm thinking about what I'm gonna do to prepare myself for the Batman Superman movie. Like, what exactly am I gonna watch? To kind of prepare myself for that. I know I'm watching Man of Steel right before I see that movie. I know that for a certainty. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to do a video just talking about my love for the Justice League series. And I've said in other videos, I consider that just kind of like 4 seasons of the same show, because it's all the same continuity. It's pretty much the same animation style. Again, just so much good stuff. To me, it was like the best superhero cartoon since, like, or before, well, not since, but like it was before Young Justice. And for the longest time, I felt like the Justice League series, that was the best superhero cartoon ever made. Like, in all honesty, I couldn't really see anything just touching that until Young Justice. And let me tell you something. If you told me in the beginning when Young Justice was getting created, and it was just before it came out, that like Young Justice was going to be quite possibly even better than the Justice League series was, I would have said you were nuts. There's no way, because like, man, I did not expect much for that Young Justice cartoon. In all honesty, I really didn't expect a lot. Like, because I just figured, okay, we're just getting more of Teen Titans, like not Teen Titans Go, because that was Young Justice before that. But like, I just figured that's all it was gonna be. I didn't expect it to be such like competent storytelling. Like, whoa, and then just like arcs for everybody, and just drama, like legitimate drama, and like, whoa. I'm kind of getting off topic here because like this video is about Justice League, but Young Justice, man, that was such a great cartoon. I'd love to see DC just do a book about set in the Young Justice world, because I'm pretty sure that like DC has a world set for the Young Justice universe, and I would love to see them just continue the show. Just have it like, just have it labeled as like season 3 of Young Justice, and have it like 20 something issues or whatever, like you would for a season. And yeah, man, I would get behind that. I'm sure tons of people would get behind that. Yeah. And I guess another reason I did this video, because I just finished doing the Convergence video, and I had to do a video about things I love, because Convergence, it just depresses me and how bad it was. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about it, and if you guys want to talk about it, cool. Send me a message, man. Like, I love gushing about this stuff and the DCAU and all that stuff. I just love talking about it. And I'd love to meet some people out there that love it just as much as I do. So, yeah.